There's the bell. Alex Clockey and Gary Bowl, team 71171 out of Idaho, getting a good start on the boat end. So we head upwind. Got Mr. Steve Kinsey in the 11 boat. Ian Vickers, V11 maybe? I'm not sure which one, but a Vickers boat. Tacks on to port first. Got Mark Gollison, our leader after day one, in the 155 boat. Coming up the middle. Defending that lead as Alex and Peter Grimm come up over the inside. Peter in the 6-0 boat. Alex in the, oh thank heaven, 711 boat.
With that.
Alex, a new old sailor. Used to sail Marbleheads and now is back in the game, sailing DF95s and IOMs. Thanks to the Gary Bowl racing team. As Mark shockingly finds a way to the front. I guess that's how you win these regattas. In the 155 boat, everybody's coming over here, trying to get on starboard for the what do they call that? Windward mark. Windward mark. Gary Bowl doing a weed check, or no, that's Bud doing a weed check in the 7-8 boat. As head upwind in the windward mark. Oh, a lot of weeds. Everybody coming in.
It's called the Saltspring Swing.
It's like Indy out here. F1 racing coming in. Saltspring swing, change the tires, top off the fuel, get them back on the water. But Alex forgoes the pit stop on the first lap and finds himself in first place for 2 seconds until Mark Gollison passes him in the offset. Alex, you're the keep clear boat there, Alex. Be gentle with Mark. As they turn and head downwind, as I try not to fall off the picnic table. Got Mark in the 155 out front, Alex in the 711, and Steve Kinsey trying to defend his country's honor from the Americans in the 11 boat with his country compatriot in the 6-0 boat, Peter Grimm. Back to Gary Bowl in 7-1 in 5th place.
Oh, thank
Bud in the 7, oh thank heaven, 7-11 in 2nd. Got Jess Atkins in the 5-6, top wood in the A fleet here. First A fleet race of Saturday, whatever the date is, September 13th. As we head downwind, there's Larry Grant and Murray Cummings on the outside. Check back in our leaders. Looks like Alex and Mark are trying to finish a dead tie in this race. Oh geez, a little earthquake there, sorry. Hold the camera steady, Dan. Big zoom lens, cheap camera, shaky video. Shaky Cam Productions. Oh, got a pit stop going on. Gary Bowl in and out. Oh no, that was Bud. The 7-8. These white boats, I get them confused. Looks like Mark has eked some boat links on Alex. Hope Alex hasn't weeded. Probably makes the inside gate favorable so you can do a quick de-weeding pit stop. So Mark goes around first. Alex goes around second. Give you a little vision there. Steve Kinsey and Peter Grimm. All right, Americans on the inside, Canadians on the outside. Peter tacks quickly. Steve Kinsey continues on. We'll see where they cross up here as the rest of the fleet heads in there. Sorry, can't see sail numbers. Looks like a white boat of somebody. Maybe Gary Bowl. I think I see Jess Atkins coming the inside. Mark and Alex still glued together over here like a little Velcro. you're going to follow somebody, Mark Golston's a good guy to follow for you beginners at home. Not a bad strategy. When a good guy gets in front of you, just follow him. Maybe he'll drag you to the finish line. Is Alex 7-11 boat going strong? Gary's thinking maybe he lent Alex the wrong boat, gave him the fast one. But Alex, accomplished sailor, doing well here at Saltspring Island. Looks like Peter Grimm has found himself in third place. Alex does a little tack, gets away from Mark, saying why go slow together when I can get some clean air here, get a little height on Mark. We'll see if that strategy pays off. Mark heading over to the dock, maybe he's going to do a weed check. We'll get Mark on the clock here as Mark comes in, does a tack, inspects for weeds, shows Alex some starboard love. Mark tacks back. Get the pit stop, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Back in the water, fresh set of tires.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Peter No Weed Grimm has gotten weed.
Lots.
As we head back upwind, Mark and Alex still at first. Peter in the 6-0 boat
I'm going
in
to try to
second.
cross if I may, Steve.
Yeah,
Is
go
that
for it.
okay?
Gary Bowl, very courteous sailor, 7-1 boat. Steve Kinsey in the 1-1. Heading upwind. Gary going to do a weed check. Let's see if he can beat Mark. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Oh, right on par with Mark. As Alex finds his way into first place, I think. Nice job, Alex. Wind's picking up here as I get precariously close to the edge of the picnic table. Alex tacks on to starboard first. Nice job, Alex. I'm going to force Mark to tack under him, but I think Mark's got enough room to make it. As they head to the buoy, Mark has no rights, but Alex doesn't do any meanness to him. And Mark in the 155 rounded first. Alex 7-11 second. Peter Graham in the 6-0 in third. Steve Kinsey in fourth, followed by Gary Bowl in fifth. So Americans got the Canadian sandwiched here. As we head downwind, 8.5 minutes into this race, last trip downwind. Let's check in with our leaders. Looks like March has stretched it out, so the weed did okay. Alex still running on his original tires out there. In 7-1-1, we'll see if they get him one lap back. Peter Grimm going fast downwind in the 6-0 boat.
That's weed.
Steve Kinsey in the 1-1. Followed by, it looks like Gary Bowl in 7-1 and Bud in the 7-8. Jess Atkins in the 5-6. Had a talk with his Woody last night, trying not to lose his sponsorship. Up here in A Fleet, ahead of Larry Grant in the 185 boat, followed by Jerry Bauer in the new Vizes. So the Vizes are sticking together. Check back in with our leaders. My teeny tiny viewfinder. As looks like Mark's holding on the lead. Mark's a tough one to pass. 155. That's what he's leading after day one. Alex 7-1-1 orange Britpop. I'm gonna call it Lambo orange. Looks kind of like a Lamborghini. Out of the Richmond Racing stables of Gary Bowl. Peter Grimm still in third in the 6-0. They're coming the inside. Steve Kinsey's eyeing up that outside mark, saying I could follow and be in fourth, or I can take a risk and be in 10th. But we'll see. Steve pays off. I don't know, finishing leg, I think going outside might not be a bad thing. 7-1-1. Get some different angles on the finish line as we finish upwind, separate finish line from our start line, which when you're running two fleets is always a good idea, because it allows the next fleet to get on the water and the other fleet to get out cleanly. Kind of makes things flow. So they were doing a multi-fleet regatta, make that happen. But Alex on starboard, Steve Kinsey gained some ground. So Steve gets back underneath Alex in the 1-1, has to duck his Peter Grimm in the 6-0 as the waves come rocking through. It's like Mark Dawson staying in the lead in the 155 as Gary Bowl goes out on a flyer. There's Gary out there in the 7-1 boat looking for a big shift and a lift to the finish line. We'll see if that pays off for Gary. We've got Mark Galson coming up here close. Got to lean the camera, and Mark does a weed inspection. Decides to sail on. Got enough fuel to get to the finish line. Peter Grimm's made his way into second. Alex, the weed ferry might have visited. Alex, as he's rifled back to fifth or sixth, as Mark Galson comes in to win that race. Nice job, Mark. Peter in second, the 6-0 boat. Steve Kinsey looks like he's going to get third. Gary Bowles' trip to the Outer Banks there has paid off, where he comes in to crush Alex's soul at the end. Bud squeaks into fifth. Gary into sixth. Nice job, Gary. Little port starboard here with Jess and Alex. As Alex crawls in, blew a tire on the last lap and comes in there. Here's our top viz, Larry Grant in the 185. Jordan Pedrick out of the Bay Area in the 5-7. Jerry Brower in the 2-6. Bob Wells in the 07. Martin Herbert in the 3-8. Nice job, Mark.
Thank you, Dan.
A little slow on the pit stop, though. You got to work on that. Yeah. 4 seconds. And the rest of the fleet coming in. Murray Cummings. Michael Kidd. Barry Donaher. Gene Harris. And time for me to race B fleet. Alright, looks like Larry Grant, the 185 over early, A fleet race, courtesy of Dan, got 5th in B fleet, which really sucks. Looks like Mark Galson doing a penalty turn over there for some reason. As starboard boats head out to sea, you got Bob Wells in the 07. Looks like he's leading the pack on the outside. Bob tacks back in. Had a lot of weeds here. Today they just dragged the weed net through. Not sure if it made any difference, but we tried. As Peter Graham in the 6-0 boat tacks on the starboard. Looks like he's in first place. So we head up to the windward mark for the first time. Peter tacks back. On the port.
7-1 holding on starboard. 7-1 holding on starboard.
As boys head upwind, Gary has to Missed the starting line. There's Peter Grimm out front. The 6-0 boat makes is good at geometry. Got right where he needed to be to get across that mark on starboard. I got Jess Atkinson on the 5-6 boat. And toward the mark, it's like Bob Wells is going to make around first. Our Region 6 skipper out of Seattle in the 07, followed by Peter Grimm in the 6-0 boat. In second, got George Pedrick, Richmond, California, the 5-7 blue boat there. Alex Clockey out of Sun Valley, Idaho, new hotbed of RC sailing because 2 guys are sailing there. Plus Alex's wife, that's 3. So Sun Valley's blowing up. Everybody's going to be moving there soon. Looks like Bud in the 7-8 boat. In 5th, as Alex gets a puff, rides a wave. Gonna try to fly by George as Bob Wells tries to hang on the lead in front of Peter Grimm. Bob in the 07 boat, all hopped up on painkillers, Advil and ibuprofen, performance enhancers. You know, us model sailors, we got to do whatever it takes. So Bob gets a puff, gets in front of Peter in the 07. Peter Grimm in the 6-0 in second. Alex Clockey in the 7-1-1. Third and fourth, George Pedrick out there in the 5-7 blue Vickers boat. And the rest of the fleet all pretty tight here after lap 1. Heading back upwind for the second time. Got Bob in the 07 coming the inside. Got some guys going outside. Steve Kinsey. And not sure, one of the Woodies out there. Maybe Martin Herbert. Sorry, Martin. Oh, point the camera down. Cried out loud. Let's watch him with my eyes. Not the viewfinder. Alex tacks away first. Gets out of the hubbub as the wind's really picked up here. A little rougher water. Got Alex sailing up the middle. Got Peter Grimm in the 6-0 boat. Sending some dirty air George Pedrick's way. 5-7 boat. Bob Wells over here on the inside in the 07. Right up there on starboard. Looks like Alex tacks back. Staying in the middle of the course. As check back in with our leader, Peter Grimm out here in 6-0. K2, making the K2 great again. So why buy a Viz when you got a K2? Oh, has to duck Bob though. Maybe a little early. Bob sails on a little bit. Maybe try to gain a little height on Peter. And maybe come into the... you got to go way out to come into the windward mark on port. It's got a lot of boats here coming on starboard. I think Bob says, hey, I need to come in here and cover. So boats get close to me, got to zoom out as George Pedrick looks like he's knocking on the door of second place, maybe first place. George says, I'm not worried about Bob, I'm worried about the windward mark as Peter does a weed check. Long one, slow pitch stop for Peter, unfortunate. As countrymen exchange pleasantries.
Well, give me a break.
As Bob Wells leading the charge, the 07. Let's give Bob a little glory here. As Bob makes it to the windward mark in first place here. Bob's doing well, staying weed free. As Bob makes it second, Alex Clocky getting to the windward mark in second place as Peter Grimm tries to hang on after a slow pit stop for weeds in the 6-0 boat. Now in third, George Pedrick in fourth. Looks like Bud in the 7/8 boat in fifth. Steve Kinsey 11 and 6. Gary Bowl 7-1 and 7th. Larry Grant 1-8-5 and what was that, 8th? I'm losing track. Barry Donner 9th maybe. And Jess Atkinson in the 5-6 in 10th. Ooh, that's tough. Let's Bob is put a quarter leg on people here. So Bob's out front, trying to stay away from weeds if that's possible. In the 07 boat, got Alex Clocky channeling his surfing skills as we head downwind. Alex probably dreaming of fly fishing as he sails his boat, but 711's doing well this weekend. And then followed by, oh my gosh, the breakaway, the peloton is chasing him down. Too many to call, but got George Pedrick, Peter Graham, Bud, Steve Kinsey, Gary Bowl, Barry Donover. It's like the who's who of radio sailing in that peloton, trying to chase down the breakaway group of Bob Wells and Alex Clocky. Geez, Dan, fire your brain up. That one cup of coffee was not enough. As Bob rounds first, Alex second, Steve Kinsey going the outside, Larry Grant going the outside. As Bob comes over close to the dock, not sure if he's going to do a weed check. He's staring. Picks the boat up, puts it down. Weed check, hand tack. As Bob tries to hold on to first place. Bob only changes the left side tires, splash of fuel, and goes. So Bob first. Got George Pedrick on the outside. And unknown sailor, really on a flyer. Way out there. Breeze feels bigger out there, but I don't know why it would be bigger out there. Unless we get some nothing blocking unencumbered wind here. There's a lot of clean air rolling down at Saltspring Island. That's Bob Wells, the 07. He's on a mission to win this A Fleet race, but it's never too late to lose a model sailing boat race. So. As Bob comes up here and talks, Gary on the flyer on the outside in the 7-1, making some gains. As Bob in the 07 boat. Sailing well, Bob's hanging on. We got George Pedrick in the 5-7 on top of Peter Graham in the 6-0. Alex Clocky coming in on port in the 7-11. Coming into a good spot. Alex might be able to get all, oh no, Tech's back, staying more in the middle. Oh, that's finished. Jeez, thought they had another leg, sorry. Bob hangs on to win. Fire your free videographer. As the A Fleet race finishes come in. Zoom in, slow it down, do what you need to do. Or speed it up. Makes the boats look really fast when you play these videos on 2x speed. As the rest of the fleet comes in.
Good job, bud.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
60127.
All right, A Fleet race, Saturday, September 13th. A couple boats over early. I had to change picnic tables. The picnic table got invaded by kids. We got Larry Grant out front, who won the almost won the last race. George Pedrick nipped him at the line, but got Larry Grant, the 185 out front. Mark Gollison on his hip. Gary Bull sucking some dirty air behind him. See how long he can hang in there as we head upwind for the first time. How many hot RC sales are out there, Wilson? Give you a free plug. I usually charge $500,000 for 30 seconds, but for you. As Larry continues on. As Larry in the 185 boat stays out front. Jason Rhodes in the 3-4, Woody a little lower there than Larry. George Pedrick hoping for some lift to make that gate. We're interesting angle here. George looks a little low, Larry looks a little low. Looks like a little shift got him. They're both going to have to tack. Mark squirts in from who knows where. Mark comes in hot on port. Crazy. As Mark's now first to windward mark, first to the offset as we head downwind. Got Larry Grant. Second spot, George Pedrick in third in the 5-7 boat. Gary Bull riding up George's rear. George says, "Get out of the way, Gary." Gary shoots over the middle. Bob Wells and Chase in the 07 boat. Check back in on Mark. Mark's still out front. Larry and George slowing each other down, trying to chase Mark down.
Based on what I see, I think...
As we head downwind, Larry gets a little edge over Mark, or over George in the 5-7 boat. As Larry gets a puff and rides right up on Mark's rear bumper. Gary's over here in his clean Idaho air.
Clean Idaho russet air.
Potato puff coming in for Gary.
Potato going downwind?
As I try not to fall off the picnic table. As Gary flew the Potato Express down the left side of the course and now find himself in second place. As George Pedrick moves to the inside in the 5-7. Gary goes the outside in the 7-1. Mark comes the inside. Larry the outside. Looks like top four split it. We'll see where they cross. We've got all the Monday morning quarterbacks lined up on the picnic table here, telling them how to do it right. If they would only listen to these guys, they'd win every race. But as we all know, when you get on the water, it's a whole different ball game. George and Mark tack on to starboard. Larry tacks back on the port. See where they cross. Gary's committing to the left side. There's no slowing down the Potato Express out there in the 7-1 boat. As George probably in first, but who knows? If Gary gets lifted, Gary's going to sail that long port tack. He went out to another zip code and is now coming back in. We'll see if he can lay that windward mark or not, but we got George in here on the 5-7. Larry Grant making model sailing great again in the 185. Sneaky Mark Gollison. I don't know where he snuck in on port up there, but he came flying in to be first to the windward mark. Gary in the 7-1 getting back into our hemisphere. As Mark and George cross. Looks like the inside paid, although Gary's slowly chipping his way into third place, looks like. as George has got the Vickers powered up in this bigger wind. As Gary didn't quite go far enough to lay it, but nails it pretty good to come in on a starboard mark. Has to duck George a little bit. So wow, Gary looks like he's going to cross Mark. So Gary's going to make himself into, who knows? Gary's going way right. George has to throw a tack in there. Has to duck Mark. Giving up first place to Mark. Gary and the Idaho Rocket have now made his way into second place, chasing Mark down. Mark Galson in 5.5. 155 heading downwind. Gary on his right side. As we head downwind for the last time. Mark playing with some upwind traffic. Never fun. Bob's like slowing Mark down for Gary. Probably some payback at the bar later tonight. As they're 3 wide, as they say in NASCAR. We got the 155 Mark Galson, 7-1 Gary Bull, Richmond George Pedrick. Battle of the Americans here at the Canadian Nationals. Got Larry Grant, the 185 in third. Mark squirting up to first place. Jerry with a little preparatory main flip. Maybe Gary's going outside, getting set up for that Mark rounding. Early planning. As George tucks behind Gary, he's going to follow Mark to the inside. Gary's going to go for the Potato Express again on the outside. In the 7-1 boat, Mark and George on the inside. Larry goes the outside, the 185. Bob Wells in 5th place. Pride of Mercer Island. Up here from Seattle. His wife Jackie is draining his bank account as we speak at the craft fair market. She never saw a piece of jewelry she didn't like. But Bob's sailing well today, so small price to pay for model boat glory. As we check back in on our leaders, here's sneaky Mark Galson, always sneaking up by the dock in the 155. George Pedrick in the middle in the 5.7. Larry Grant tacking back onto port because that's what Larry does. Loves that port tack. So we head into the finish line. Gary's coming in from left field. Coming in hot. But it looks like Mark might have him a little bit. As we head upwind, Mark tacks. Gary looks like he's laying that far end of the finish line. These 3 are going to have to throw a tack in. Gary might ride the Potato Express right to the far end of the finish line. It's going to be a tricky finish. Bob's going to have to settle for 5th maybe, but Jess Atkins coming up hot in the 5.6 Woody. Let's look back. Gary's still committed to the potato. Gary's still coming strong. Oh no, to you, Gary, Mark, Gary. Oh, I think Mark just got it. Maybe Gary with a 2nd, George with a 3rd. That was a great race. Lots of different strategies there. Gary definitely wins the Miles Sailed Award. As the rest of the boats come in, and I can't read a darn sail number because they're sailing straight away from me. That looks like 8.5 Gary Woodard. Jerry Brower in the 2.6 boat. Bud in the 7.8. Got Steve Kinsey in the 1-1. Alex Clocky giving some starboard love. Starboard love to Steve Kinsey. And looks like he squeaks it in there. And there's the rest of the fleet. On to B fleet. All right. A little late. A little late on this race. I was talking lavender farms and goat cheese with Jennifer Gallison. But A fleet race. It's like Jess Atkins, Steve Kinsey on the outside. Got Mark Gallison on this first upwind beat. We got Mission Impossible Jason Rhodes. This message will self-destruct as his transmitter beeps at him. He's hanging in there. Sometimes these transmitters are a little bit of a mystery. Let me throw on my glasses so I can see my teeny tiny viewfinder. As Mark Gallison, the 155 boat. Gary Bowl coming way over to the dock to get on the starboard. Hopefully make it. Steve Kinsey just crossing Gary there. Maybe you saw on the edge of the viewfinder. As Gary prays for lift. Gary's going to be a little low. Going to have to throw another tack in, deal with some starboard boats. Let the mayhem resume. But Mark Gallison gets around in first. Jess Atkins in the 5.6 in second. Peter Grimm, the two-face boat, half red, half tan, in 6-0 in third place. His countryman, Mr. Steve Kinsey, in fourth. The 1.5 boat in fifth. I don't know, 1.5. Eric, maybe? But check back in with Mark. Mark's still out front in the 1.55. Peter Grimm in the 6-0. Jess Atkins in the 5.6. Woody going strong. Jess was struggling a little bit on Friday, questioning the meaning of life in wooden sailboats, but has found the formula today. As we head downwind, but the rest of the peloton comes in. Gary Bold takes a tumble on the dock, back up. Got a little hump down there. Gary's like a guy who falls in a swimming pool with a beer and doesn't spill a drop. So up like a ninja. A little ramp caught him. As looks like Mark makes it to the leeward gate first. 155, Peter Grimm, the 6-0, following him inside. Jess Atkins in the 5.6 on the outside. As Bob Wells is stalled there, stuck on the mark, maybe? Can't tell, but we'll see where these guys cross. Jess went to the outside in the 5.6 boat. Barry Donner is out there in the 2.7 also. And see where they come back together here. As Mark looks like he's hanging on the lead. Has to dodge the start line there. The 155 boat. Got Gary Boom Boom Bowles in the 7-1. Peter Grimm there on Mark's tail. Some port boats have to keep clear. You got Jerry Brower out there trying the Potato Express, patented by Gary in the last race. Peter Grimm says, I'm going to find some clean air. Tacks on the port, breaking from Mark. Has to do a big duck, unfortunately. That's going to cost him. As Steve Kinsey working up the inside here in the 11 boat, 1-1. Looks like he's getting into second, but we got Jess Atkins over here too in 5.6 boat. I think it was built by Barry Donaher. So Barry's boat, two of Jerry's wooden boats out here. Just looks close to second, maybe. Crossed in front of Steve Kinsey. Has Peter Grimm working inside here in the 6-0 boat, seeing if he can make some gains. Taking a little gamble. There's Jason Mission Impossible Roads with the Perma Beep transmitter coming at us, coming in hot. And the 155 looks like Mark's going to get there first, but Jess coming in on port. Jess, George, Peter, everybody's coming in on port. Gary's up there. Do some dodging, some tacking, but Mark makes it first in the 155. Let's see, Jess Atkins in second. Nice job, Jess. You did really well in a race before this, and I wasn't filming it, so I got chastised for that. But my boat had the slows, and I had to try to beat the slows out of it, so I sacrificed a chicken, came up with a few spells, rubbed it on the mast, and now the boat's faster again. But still got Mark in the 155 out front, Jess Atkins in the 5.6 in second, Steve Kinsey in the 1.1 in third, George Pedrick in fourth in the 5.7. But here's Gary, MMA Fighter Bowles in the 7.1. As he comes down to Heartbreak Bridge, we'll see if he can navigate it successfully. Looks like he made it this time, as Mark is just out running his own race. The 155. Looks like Jess is been shuffled back to fourth in the 5.6, but Steve Kinsey and George Pedrick knocking on the door of second and third. Hard to tell. Looks like Mark's eye on the inside. Mark comes inside. George and Steve. George rounds in second. Steve Kinsey in third in the 1.1 boat. Trying to chase Mark down. Jess Atkins goes outside. We'll see which pays. Seems like the inside's been panned. Gary almost made the outside work a couple times, but it's a commitment out there, folks. You gotta go long and hard. Jess comes back in right away. Mark on starboard, George on starboard, Steve Kinsey on starboard. Jess Atkins gonna be right behind Steve, right behind George. So no gains for Jess, but not a lot of losses. Maybe a little either. I'm not sure. Running out of gas here. Trying not to step on a boat next to me. As Mark, a 155 boat. Tries to cover the fleet, at least covers George. He's the closest boat to him, 5.7. Gary Bowl and Jess Atkins. Atkinson in the 5.6 boat. Coming up the middle, Steve Kinsey still in the mix.
Maybe we can get Harry to write it down in his notebook there.
As we head towards the finish line. Mark's having a heck of a weekend. Going strong. Looks like he's going to make it in there for the first place finish. Looks like George in second. In the 5.7. Steve Kinsey in the 11 boat here, maybe in third. I think so. He's going to get on the starboard. Got to power things up. So here's the interesting three. How's this going to work? Here getting stuck behind and below. Peter, as let's just sneak into fourth. think into fourth. Oh,
I think it was only like 1 or 2 races. Like pretty well B-rigged.
the rest of the boats come in. Jason has a mishap with the mark.
Oh, sorry.
What's that? I tried not to trample it, but yes. I don't know if I can deal with this disrespect using my video table for your boat.
You guys should go to B-rig?
No. I haven't seen anybody bury a bow yet.
Yeah.
All right, 15 seconds to the bell. And they're off. Larry Grant tried to film a race, and might have filmed it, might not have. When I came up the camera, it was laying on the table filming, so we probably got a good 20 minutes of dead air, sideways action. As here we are in A Fleet, and shockingly, Mark Gollison out front, the 151. Canada is good to Mark Gollison. He likes it here. We still got one more short day of sailing tomorrow. Mark's in the lead. Got Larry Grant out there in the 185 boat. Got Gary Bowl in here. Gary took a tumble, sacrificed some blood to the sailing gods to try to up his sailing prowess. Gary has, let's see, tripped on the bridge here. I've seen Gary take out a pole, and Gary took out a small Chinese lady once. So anyway, I guess Gary has a track record of bumping into things. But anyway, still sailing well. He's got some skin knees, and heading up to the windward gate for the first windward mark for the first time. As Gary gets on to starboard first, uses all the runway he had. Hoping for a little lift. He's right behind Mark. Larry tacks underneath him and hopes to do his lift thing. Looks like they're all three going to get lifted around. They looked a little low for a minute, but now not a problem. Although it looks like Gary might have stalled a little bit. Pinching. Larry does the shooby-doo shuffle. Oh, Larry! It's the mark. Gonna get beat up for that. As we head downwind. There he gets clear, does his thing. As Mr. Mark Gollison's out front in the 155. There's Gary. Very bold 7-1 boat. Looking for some air. It's coming downwind fast. Followed by Bud in the 7-8 boat. Bud sails under an alias to keep his true identity unknown. Got Bear Donaher, the 2-7 boat, downwind fast. As not sure, we got Jerry Brower out there, maybe a late entry. Going up through the fleet on starboard. Trying to salvage some points. Looks like Mark's going to make it first. Gary going to go for the Idaho Express on the outside. No, Gary follows Mark to the inside. As we head back upwind, third place is Bud in the 7-8 boat. Barry Donaher in the 2-7 boat. As we head back upwind for the second time, all the way, 150 yards here. For you metric folk out there, that's less than 150 meters. But Mark's on the inside, Gary's on the outside, boat's moving well. Keep it moving.
I don't want to do a quick pitch.
As we had upwind. Also had a little fun in our rescue boat. The propeller of our electric outboard did a little tuning. Did a little tuning on Wilson Chong's otter. His otter has been neutered officially. It's got a big hole in the bottom from a prop strike. As Mark and Gary had upwind, no changes, got Bud in third. I guess the battle's for fourth. Well, fourth and not to be bottom four, because two fleets, 4 up, 4 down. Larry Grant in the 185 boat, getting over the top of
7-1 protest 5-7.
as we head up to the windward mark, check in with our leaders. Mr. Mark Gallison, the 155. Gary Bowl, 7-1. Bud, the 7-8. No changing happened there. We got Murray Cummins in the 571. Just had a little port starboard with George Pedrick. George did the turn. Lost a few boat links to Murray and the rest of the fleet. As Bud makes the windward mark, looks like Larry Grant will be next, tacking his viz quickly. As Larry makes it in fourth, looks like Barry Donaher in fifth. 1-5 boat. I believe is Eric, but I gotta figure that out. Oh, well, thank Kevin. There he's back in the mix. 7-11, Alex Clockey. Cinderella story out of Idaho. Fly fisherman extraordinaire. Turned new again, RC boat sailor. He used to sail Marbleheads back in the day. Now he's back in the IOMs, DF95s. And who is on his tail but another Region 6 sailor, Bob Wells in the 07 Fusion prototype from who knows when. Bob pulled it out of the bottom sock drawer to come here and race. He's making it go. Let's check back in on our leaders. Boring. Mark in front. Gary just following. Come on, Gary. Get a move on. 7-1. Still got Bud in third. Larry Grant's trying to give him the smother technique. Says, eat some dirty air, Bud. The Viz is coming through. I didn't pay top dollar for this boat to be beat by a V10. Damn it. Nothing goes upwind like money. And Larry Grant's gonna be out to prove it as he goes outside. 3 boats inside, 1 outside. We'll see where they cross coming upwind. See who's the hero, who's the goat. Got Gary Bowl, Mark Gallison, and Bud on the inside. We got Larry Grant. Where's Larry? Larry on the outside, bouncing away. Mark tacks on the starboard. Everybody's taking it all the way to the dock. Got Mark on starboard, Gary on starboard. Bud follows suit. And they're heading up to the finish line, I believe. Larry's driving the Potato Express, seeing if he can make some gains. There's Larry. The 185 boat. Oh, yeah, Larry's getting a little lift, but not going to catch Mark. Not going to catch Gary. Oh, but Bud tacks away. Maybe he's going to catch Bud. We'll see. As Larry and Bud coming up on port together. Mark and Gary on a leisurely Sunday sail match race, but Gary just can't close the gap. Mark's just on fire today. So nice sailing, Mark, on 155. Gary Bowl in the 7-1, but here's the action on Bud and Larry Grant. Bud takes it to the wall, backs onto starboard. Larry looking for something in the eviscerator.
Not gonna happen.
But Mark makes it in first. Looks like Gary second. No changes there, but this fifth place might be exciting. So we got Barry Donaher in the 2-7 boat. Bob Wells looking for some speed, some VMG, some height. He needs it all. He needs pointing, speed, and leverage, but looks like Barry's going to cover Bob easily. As the rest of the fleet comes in. Barry gets it, Bob. There's Alex. As we all make it in late on a Saturday. We have little din-dins up at the yacht club tonight. We'll see all the poor behavior of the sailors. There he is, A Fleet, first place, Mark Gollison. He's got the formula down today. Here comes Larry Grant with a dejected look on his face. Trying out the outside, went on the flyer.
Sorry about the previous video, it sucked.
You even left it on the table, so I probably got...
Isn't his nickname Flyer Larry? Have to be John.
Like Steve Kinsey, number 1-1 over early. Jerry Brower shot out of a cannon on the pin end of the line in his new Viz, low mileage model. Got Mark Gollison, his usual spot, middle of the line, conducting business.
I'm at least 2 hull lengths to weather, am I not?
No, it was closer when I said that.
Sorry.
I wouldn't have said it if it
It's
was
not
that close.
malicious, just believing. Sorry.
I know you're
No,
not.
you're good.
Like they're Canadians.
The do-gooder sailors out there. Gary Bowl, Jess Atkinson. They discuss boat separation, staying clear, windward boat. I got George Pedrick in the 5-7 on the inside, saying hi to Murray in the 5-7-1. Got Mark Gollison, who worked the middle in the 155 out in front. It's like Peter Grimm in the 6-0 boat, bouncing away up front. And we got Gary on starboard, crossing the fleet. Let's see if he can get up there and do a little port shooby-doo. Nope, tacks under Alex there. Alex gives him a love tap on his stern as sail on. Like Mark and Peter duking it out. USA versus Canada. Peter Grimm says, not on my watch, Mr. Mark Gollison. As Peter powers up on the outside, just rolling over the top of Mark. Mark's sorting out which side of the wants the sails on. Mark's powered up. Jerry's in the middle of the mix in the 2-6. 2-6 boat. Gary Bowles back there in 4th, looks like. Got Bud in 5th. He's consistently in the top half, doing well. Looks like Mark's poked ahead of Peter a little bit as they sail downwind. And Peter tries to slow Mark down, and the rest of the fleet reels him in.
You gotta finish them first, right?
So,
Wow, you
got Mark Gallison. Mark Gallison out front, 155. Peter Grimm, both on port. Mark's got rights. Gary's on port. Oh, Peter's on starboard. Oh, Mark's on starboard. Gary's on starboard. Everybody's on starboard. Look out. So Peter defended inside well. Looks like Gary's going to go for the Potato Express on the outside. Instead of being on the outside of the wheel, he's going to go on the outside of the course. Peter and Mark come to the inside. We head back upwind. As, you can't see it, but there's Gary Bowl in the 7-1 boat, Jerry Warren Brower in the 2-6 boat, George Pedrick in the 5-7, all went outside. Jess Atkinson, 5-6, went outside. While Mark and Peter tack up the dock here, working the inside, and sail in the short course. Jerry and Gary doing the long course. Let's see where they cross. Got Larry Grant in the mix, forcing George Pedrick to tack underneath them in the 185. Got Bud in the 7-8. Oh, thank heavens, there's 7-11, Alex Clockey. Sailing a lot of E-fleets in the borrowed boat from the Bull Racing Stables as we head back upwind. As check back in on our leaders, got Peter and Mark out there making stuff happen. And Gary gets back in the mix. So the Boise Express, Idaho shuffle worked as Gary pulled Jerry along. Jerry, it's like he's made his way up pretty good. Mark's a little higher, but Gary's a little closer to the mark. See how this works out as I try not to fall off the table here late in the day. I don't think any of these guys are going to fix my broken hip or do CPR on me, so that would be the end of me. For the art of the video, got Gary Bull in the 7-1 boat doing well. Got Mark Gallison in the 155. Looks like Peter's giving up a few boat lengths. And Gary makes it onto starboard first. Mark tacks underneath him. Peter tacks underneath Mark. So Peter makes it around first. Geez, hopefully I got it there. Where's my frame? There they are. So Peter pulled the rabbit out of the hat and gained some gains upwind. Gary went way outside, made some gains, and Mark's just sailing fast once again in a puff. Looking for some downwind speed in the 155. Peter Grimm in the 6-0. Gary Bull squeaking over to the inside. A little bit of a, whatever you call that. Not a dead run, but kind of sailing some angles. But, uh-oh, battery's going low. Battery's going low. It's flashing. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it. But we're hanging in there. Looks like Gary's Gary's closed the gap, coming to the inside, kind of worked. This battery's gonna go dead any minute now. And then I'll jump and get another battery. Let's try to catch him before the finish. Still got the blinking light, the blinking red battery. Who was managing batteries today? Oh, me. But Mark is caught up to Gary. Past Peter on the downwind, gets ahead of Peter. Wait a minute, Mark's going to the outside. What is going on here? Mark to the outside, Gary to the inside? This is like cats and dogs living together. As Mark and Peter, the red blinking light of death is still on there. I'm gonna hate myself if I don't get the finish of this race. Not sure what happened to Gary. But, oh, Gary's over here near the dock. Gary's working the inside. As the girls get back from their shopping spree, I hear them over there. See if they put a dent in my bank account. It's Gary Bowl. Where is he? Getting lifted up the inside. 7-1. Gary Clean Living Bowl took a spill. Scared to zoom because it'll use battery. That's Gary on starboard. Where you want to be, folks, when you're coming into a finish. Mark. Ooh, Gary getting a little lift.
The rudder went right to the bottom of the
As they're working hard, this red blinking light better keep blinking. As looks like Mark might have got the best of Gary. Gary tried. Please make it to the finish, battery, blinking battery. That's Mark in the 155, Gary in the 7-1. Peter Grimm representing a whole country. The weight of Canada is on his shoulder. These two Americans drove north to do battle with their IOMs. And it looks like Gary's a little too low. Peter's too low. Mark's going to get it. Like Mark got it. Gary got Peter. Peter got third. Nice race.
Oh yeah.
And the battery, the Energizer Butter battery is making it. So that was the first three. It looks like, oh, George Pedrick on starboard going to get fourth. Forcing Jerry to attack. Maybe Bud in fifth. Maybe Jerry in sixth. As Jerry does a turn. Steve Kinsey coming in. A lot of boats clustered together. A lot of folks going down to B Fleet, last four, but that's the last one of the day. And the battery made it. Battery made it. See Jason, Mission Impossible Roads, make it across the finish line. And that's it for Saturday.